Oh yeah, you know that £70,000 car that we happily sold you? Do us a favour and don't park it near any buildings or structures in the meantime, will you? Why? Well, because there's a good chance that it may well go on fire. This is actually the advice that's been released to owners of Jaguar I-Paces. Now, the issue relates to what they're terming as thermal overload in the battery before emitting smoke and eventually catching fire. We've all seen these videos on the internet. It gets worse too because for the cars affected, it looks like they don't actually know what's wrong with them yet, let alone have a fix for them. Let me share the article with you. It's just been published this week, then we can have a bit of discussion on it, shall we? So, Jaguar issues urgent warning of electric car battery fires as owners told to park away from structures. Terrifying. So, Jaguar has issued an urgent warning to motorists of certain models to park away from structures over fears that the cars could catch fire. The British brand has issued a voluntary recall notice for certain 2019 Jaguar I-Pace vehicles in the United States. Yes, this is in the United States, but this has already been carried out in the UK and Europe as part of another recall. We'll talk about that more in the discussion afterwards. The recall states that the vehicles experienced thermal overload, which showed us smoke or fire from the underside of the vehicle where the high voltage traction battery is located. A previous diagnostic software update had been identified as providing an appropriate level of protection for vehicles in the United States. The documents add that the investigation is still ongoing and the supplier is still inspecting factors which may have contributed to the risk of thermal overload. The vehicle's thermal overload condition could cause occupant injury and or injury to persons outside the vehicle, as well as property damage. Well, yeah, it's fire. The latest guidance in line with recommendations made by manufacturers who've had similar issues, and until such time that safety recall remedy has been completed, retailers and customers should park away from structures. Where possible, vehicles should also be charged outside and not within a garage. Terrifying advice if you own one of these cars, in my opinion. Customers should also limit their charge to a maximum of 80% until the recall remedy has been completed. How inconvenient is that? The owner's manual should be consulted to confirm how to monitor vehicle charge level, and recalled vehicles will receive a software update that will alter the maximum state of the charge of the battery to 80% while a permanent remedy is under development. So they don't have this permanent fix yet. The answer that they've got for us is they're going to cap your battery at 80%. Jaguar Land Rover said that there hasn't been any reports of accidents or injuries as a result of the issue, although it was aware of a small number of thermal overloads following the previous software update. Owners of the impacted vehicles will be notified when the permanent remedy is due, in due course, no date on that. They will also avoid any charges for the repairs, as they should. It highlighted how customers who have paid for a repair of this defect out of warranty will also be reimbursed, and so they should. So, quite a lot to unpack there. Firstly, this is a US recall for model year 2019 I-Paces, but of course, many of those same cars, same batteries, in fact, the majority of those cars were sold here in the UK and Europe. This sounds to me as though the USA is just catching up and forcing Jaguar to do something about it. I say catching up because we've had a recall open here in the UK for a very similarly worded issue since October of last year. But, and this is the huge but, they're adding a temporary fix, as this article says, and that fix, I'm going to say fix, is to cap the battery at 80% charge. Given that in that recall letter, they say they don't have a permanent fix yet, I do wonder if capping the battery at 80% is what they've been doing here in the UK all along, which would explain why so many owners are finding they're falling so significantly short of the expected range. If you do own an I-Pace, especially if you've had the recall carried out, please do leave a comment or get in touch below and let me know what you think of the range on your car. Is it living up to what it should be? Now, even with that temporary fix applied, Jaguar's advice is still to park away from structures and not to charge in your garage. That, coupled with a battery that will only take 80% of charge, it's just utterly useless, isn't it? It's inconvenient to the maximum. But I guess it's still less inconvenient than the bloody thing catching fire with your family inside it. You do need to wonder if Jaguar are having a bit of a rethink on this EV-only policy. The commercial downturn on EVs and the recurrent technical issues surely has to be enough that this once great British brand is quietly questioning what on earth they're doing. I've always been a bit of a Jag fan, to be honest, but it does look like the glory days are well and truly behind us. The good news is, if you're still in the market for a Jag, or if you're being tempted, admittedly I have been as well, there's still plenty on the market. And if you do consider one of those, here is a service worth your consideration. Vehicle Score. Put the plate of your Jag or any other car into their service. It'll tell you the good and bad points for free. If you do choose to buy one of their paid reports, and if you're serious about buying the car, you really should, I'll drop a 15% discount voucher in the description below. But as ever, thank you so much for watching. Please do remember to leave your thoughts in the comments section below. Hit like, hit subscribe, and I'll see you for the next one.